So hello and welcome to today's Info2Go webinar. We are pleased to welcome you today to today's webinar on Next Steps Idaho, a comprehensive tool for college and career-ready patrons. Today we're going to be hearing from Byron Yankee from the Idaho State Board of Education, who's going to be talking about this awesome tool today for us. And so on behalf of the Idaho Commission for Libraries and our funding partner, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, it's my pleasure to hand things over to Byron.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to say thank you for inviting me today. I am going to share my screen and it looks like the nextsteps.idaho.gov website is up with it. So I'm going to go over some broad information. Please feel free to put any questions in a chat, or we can answer questions on and off throughout this presentation. So first of all, as Annie had said, this is a career and college website. It's designed from middle school to adulthood, and it is part of the Idaho State Board of Education. It is also collaboratively funded by the Workforce Development Council. And we have a whole lot of brand new features and tools on here. If any of you have been on the Next Steps website recently, some things have changed, and I'm going to show you a few of those changes. First of all, one of the easiest ways to navigate the website often is using the mega menu across on the upper right. I would point out that we do have a piece of software that allows the screen to be adapted for visually impaired users with it, customizing the keyboard and other features that might make it easier for handicapped individuals to use the website with it. And on the mega menu, you'll see across the top, we have 4 major categories here. And I'm just going to give you a quick tour by clicking on the information center. You see a variety of different features that are included underneath that in the category. Everything from preparing for college to exploring careers, job training, and the ever popular paying for education and training, because that is a big deal. Also, as we go down, some helpful resources for mentors, advisors, or families. And we also know that people come to talk with librarians and ask for help or assistance with it. And we are pleased to let you know that the librarians across the state and across the world, we consider under the category of for educators, because you do such a great job educating your patrons and people in your libraries. We do have a good calendar that's on the very bottom, but for example, as I said, that is the information center. For high school students, we have broken down by grade levels, and I'll show you a little bit about that. We also have the types of resources that encourages students to look at some of the other options, and then even trying to decide, do I want to go to college now? Do I want to go find a career first and then go to education? But at the bottom of each of the pages, you'll see an extensive list of resources. Under education and training, we have options that will link you to 2-year and 4-year colleges and universities, apprenticeships and work-based learning, and thus This is a growing field with it. And then professional certifications, short-term licenses, and things that might be available. So by clicking on any of those, it provides a direct link to some of those resources. And again, down to some quizzes and assessments with them. Colleges and universities all have the information, Idaho colleges and universities, and then some general categories. Again, the paying for education and training and preparing. We also have a new feature applying to colleges and technical schools as a way to begin to say, what do I want to do? I will also point out by clicking on Idaho colleges, for those patrons that come into your libraries that might be veterans, and every one of our colleges and universities has a link to veteran services. Those services are so unique that anyone inquiring about veteran services, we're best to direct them to our colleges and universities, some across the state or those that might be near by. The last section has to do with careers, and it has 3 different phases. Browsing, kind of looking around. This is where people can find out about career opportunities in Idaho and whether or not there's an in-demand job with it. For those people that have a job or thinking about changing careers, they want to pick up new skills or move forward, we have this category with it. And let's just say you have a job, you really like it, but you want to advance your career with more opportunities. And each of these will begin to link out. The whole premise is to try to get people to make sure that they're happy and they like the careers that they have with it. So in terms of the mega menu, those are the categories that we have. I will point out the quick links that we have along the site, and those are quizzes and assessments that can be useful for middle school through adults. Each of those have been selected and reviewed. We have field tested all of those, but let's begin to think about, okay, what are some of the features that might be of interest for librarians? I'm going to go right into for educators because, as I said, those are that's how we see our librarians. We have tabs across the top. Under the latest, there's information about all sorts of things that are in the college and career field with it. Under curriculum and resources, here's what I want to show you. If you have a student that is coming in and they are a 10th grader and they're wondering what's going on, here's a good place to go ahead and get started. So by clicking on 10th grade, they can go to a variety of activities that can help them try to figure out what might be of interest with them. Each of these are activities and quizzes that can be saved, and they can save it in a variety of different ways with it. But for example, here's one of the features that I often recommend to high school students that I talk to that are wondering where to get started. Hey, let's look at what makes you unique and a way for us to save those over a period of time. We have tips on how to volunteer and how to get in touch with some volunteer resources across the state. But by clicking on here, they can record something so they can remember. So it's just an activity that I did for service learning. Okay. And then they can type in the details with it and talk about their experiences, when it started, when it ended, was there a leadership position, was there some sort of award, and they can continue all and add more and more and more features with accomplishments and other things. Those are really important as we are starting to think about how to help young people. And as I said, these have activities for 8th grade through 12th grade. We're currently in Next Steps Idaho month. That's anything having to do with career and colleges. And you'll see a list of activities across the outside. This is a fun one. The Take 5 handout is something that can be done at home or at another time. There's a list of activities that just about 5 minutes that allow people to think about what might be available. Of course, for paying for college, we have the types of resources that are here and about filling the FAFSA, federal financial aid, and college savings plans. But as you go further down, there will always be a link to newsletters. For those of you, just for information, if someone wants some help, specifically from somebody who works in a high school, we have what are called Next Steps ambassadors. And we have people from across the state in each of the regions, and they serve as a resource for students and also for parents. And we use them quite often. We also at the top always have some features that are changing. This one happens to be a series about soft skills. So what if I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I'm very interested in seeing what might be out there? We find that often a good way to connect people to ideas and maybe help them think about what they might want to do or through videos. And so our video library has a ton of videos with a variety of different filters. And so, for example, you can type in keywords, but you can also filter by the type of video it is. We have tutorials, we have webinars, explainer videos. One thing that always gets people's attention are the docu-style stories. I'll show you some of the other features with it. We have grade levels, adult students, families, and influencers, education and career counselors. We have quite a long playlist, and we have a growing list of activities and videos in Spanish. And then also we have some categories. Is this about a career? Is this about apprenticeships? Is this about life skills? And then under sources, these are some of our partners that have provided us some of the videos. A really terrific partner that is growing and expanding and is really helping enrich our website is the Forging Futures Idaho, a brand new nonprofit that's been developed. But as I said, videos are often a beginning part. I select docuseries, so if people want to know about apprenticeships, if they want to hear from a CNC operator, that's somebody who works in manufacturing. If they want to know about jobs in casinos or lodges with it, here's an experience with Western States Cats. Each of these are pretty short, and you see a whole lot of others. We have everything from high school extracurricular activities to industrial maintenance, Idaho Forest Group. So as you can see, some of those are the types of things that in a short amount of time, people can listen and watch something that would be very, very helpful for them. We also have a variety of from Capital Educators Credit Union, we have all sorts of videos about budgets and planning, building a budget, how to buy a car, what are some basic activities to think about, how to look out for predatory practices and borrowing money. We have just a whole lot of the types of resources that are there. These are all about 3 to 5 minutes long. And as you can see, that's one of the resources that we have found very helpful when people are starting to move forward. For high school students with it, we also have a checklist, things that they can be planning to do throughout their high school period. Those can be printed off. They're in English and in Spanish. They're a great source for parents. These are divided by the seasons of the year. And so what if I am a 10th grader and I have to try to figure out how to take classes that'll help me get into college or to help pay for college? Well, by clicking on the accordion, you can learn more about advanced placement classes, advanced opportunities, and transition coordinators. These are people that are at all of our community colleges that can help. But as you go through the winter, with each of these grade levels gives you the opportunity to think forward, thinking about financial aid, learning activities, practice tests, and how to begin to think about those. So let's imagine that there's a young person who is trying to figure out what they might be interested in doing in the future and whether or not that would require going to college or not. So we're going to go over to self-assessment and planning tools over here. And these are some quizzes that are available that help build budgets, the type of learning styles. How do I learn best? What work environments do I work best in on the work values with it? What are my greatest interests with it? The Idaho Launch is a way to work with the Department of Labor and to have a career coach that can provide resources that could help pay for tools and equipment with it. Future Finder is a pretty quick personality tool that helps people think about my personality, what types of jobs are best for it. But I'm going to show you career clusters. So career clusters are a fairly recent way to think about careers in education. There are 16 national career clusters. They're very, very broad with it, but they are a way to think about the types of jobs and careers that are out there. I'm going to show you, as I scroll down through, here are the career clusters that are, as I said, nationally recognized with it. But I am going to select hospitality and tourism. So by hovering over it, it tells me a little bit about it. Would you like to work at a hotel or a restaurant? Do you want to help other people enjoy their leisure time? Are you interested in working in food service, attractions, recreation? So I'm going to click on that. And this gives me an overview. So here are some of the core skills that people who work in the hospitality and tourism industry have and use. They need to be service oriented, looking for ways to help people. They need to be able to negotiate, bring people together to solve problems. I think we've all have been in a circumstance where we've appreciated somebody who could help us solve a problem that's working in the hospitality or tourist industry. We can also look and see here are some career pathways, some jobs, and these have Idaho average salaries there. And by clicking on these, so for example, I'm going to click on cooks, institutions, and cafeterias, and it gives me some more information. It tells me some average salaries with it. If I click on education and training, it says at the College of Southern Idaho, I could explore institutional food service degrees. It also, gives me the types of education that might be available. What do I need to maybe think about in high school, or what about after high school? And then it links to other types of services and some other types of information. The career clusters and the browse careers are a way to think about what are some of the options that are out there. And I'm going to also point out, we have the Idaho Training Directory. This is a list and a searchable list by program for all of our community colleges workforce training centers. That also includes Idaho State University. By clicking on those, it gets connected directly to the workforce training classes. These are often short-term certifications or maybe 1 year training. They are often jobs that can receive some financial aid and help from various programs across the state. So if I have an adult that has come in and said, I don't want to go to college for 4 years. I really want to know what is available to me for a short term, and I live in the Magic Valley. I'm going to take them to the Workforce Development Center of the College of Southern Idaho. And it provides all sorts of information. These are career categories with it. These are areas that are available at the College of Southern Idaho. Here are upcoming courses: small engine repair, AC/DC electrical series, how to work on electrical motors. Need help paying for training? Here's the place to apply. So as you can see, for those people who may not want to do a 2-year or a 4-year, there are other types of options that are available, and our workforce development centers are very good about providing those types of information. Back to the mega menu. For that, we have a career technical education directory. This is a way to begin to think about what might be available in high schools and what are the things that might be available at a college or universities. And these will link out to the type of resources that may be helpful. When people are thinking about scholarships as a way to pay for help pay for their training, we have about 400 scholarships. Many of them do not require a GPA. Many of them are available for not only high schools, but also young adults. It's a real searchable website, and I'm going to click construction, and here's the scholarship right here that has a deadline, the award, the GPA if there was any, and some basic information on how to reach that scholarship and how to apply. So as we know, the State Board of Education, Idaho State Board of Education, provides $20 million worth of scholarships each year. And that's for students graduating high schools, but it's also for adults that may have some college and no degree, or that they may have decided now's the time for me to think about going back to college. We have in-state opportunities for scholarships. Here's a video on how to use Scholarship Idaho, which is an application portal that it's about 20 minutes. I'm sorry, it takes about 20 minutes to complete a scholarship application. The video itself is about 4 minutes. And then some general information about the scholarships. We have one scholarship portal, and it provides scholarships that are available for all 8 of our colleges and universities, plus also available for College of Idaho, Northwest Nazarene University, and BYU Idaho. So under the quick links and the assessments, you'll see a variety of things. On the Idaho launch, that is a website that, as I said earlier, can get people connected to the Department of Labor for a career coach. We also have a link to the Idaho Department of Labor under job boards. This is going to be expanding over a period of time where job seekers will actually be able to pull up a website where they can look for jobs in their areas. But I want to show you one of the tools. And this tool is called PlanSmart. And it is, as I said, can be done by middle school students with some help, or some high schools, or adults they can explore on their own. Basically, this is a good place to start and say, okay, I'm thinking about doing something else. I'm thinking in 2 years from now or next year, I might want to go to college, or I might want to look for a job. And so where would I begin? So first of all, I'm going to select the town that I live in, and I'm going to, I live in Blackfoot. And so all of the information on this planning tool, which is part budget, part planning, part career exploration, I'm going to say I live in Blackfoot. There, all the dollar amounts are come from the Department of Labor. I just want an average lifestyle with it. I live by myself right now, so I'm going to be 100% available for all the expenses. But this could be done for somebody who has roommates or someone who's married. And so let's just say I provide 40% of all the expenses for my household. Well, here's a home price, but I really want to rent. And I can say, well, you know, I pay a little bit more than 563. So I actually pay around $700 So I can select those. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. These are auto-filled based upon Idaho averages, but more than anything, particularly with young people, they may not be aware that health insurance and healthcare is something that would be needed for them to plan in. Otherwise, they're having all sorts of emergencies. So each of these expands and explains what is available. As I said, these are all autofilled, but I'm going to say I need a cell phone. I need to pay for a cell phone. I want cable TV, and I have to pay for internet for that. I could also just write down a dollar amount with it. For transportation, I want a small car, and so insurance and upkeep and gas might cost me this much, but you know what? I think it really only costs me a different amount. It costs me only $400. Oops, not 5,000. Okay, let's go back to here. I might have loans available. My food costs, I eat mostly at home, so that's going to change it. I don't have any pets. I want to save some money. So if I'm paying 40% of a household in Blackfoot, I would need something that at least brought in $1,029. And this is all broken down. These can be downloaded and saved. So let's say, okay, what kind of job could I get in Blackfoot? Well, here's the minimum salary I'm going to need. I know I want to work in agriculture, and these are the career clusters that are there. I know I don't want to go to college so far, but I'm going to select, going to select the short-term 2 years, careers, and a 2 years with it. So this is what the average salary is. It's about 2 years. And look, this is where I can look at the training and education. I can find those skills. I can, back here, the College of Southern Idaho, food technology and processing. And I can click on the programs that are available. As you see, all the different things that might be something to consider. So Plan Smart is one of those tools that can be used by a variety of different people to think whether I'm in high school or I'm an adult, maybe I want to change careers, and where should I really go from there? The last thing I would like to kind of point out are the types of things that you can find out in career clusters. So I can take a survey under career cluster to see what I might be thinking about. What activities do I like to do? And I go through and I can make some selections with it. I like to listen to people, and these are just random. They can select as many as they would like. Something that allows them to try to figure out where they want to go, what personal qualities describe me. And those are things that are helpful with the careers. And what are my favorite subjects? Let's see. And I have some more. We say, okay, I like to work with my hands. So As an outcome, here are some possibilities. So here are some career areas: human services, transportation, distribution, and logistics, marketing. As you can imagine, the more that you spend time on making those selections, the more selections, the better off your choices are going to be. Here's a way to learn about arts and technology because, oh, that might be something that I'm available or interested in. This tells me the education that I might have or I might need. And then going back to the results with it, it tells me here's some other things I may want to think about. The bottom line is that the website is designed to promote the idea that there's no single career pathway for anyone. There are many different options available, and by taking the idea of thinking about the next step, there are some resources that are handy. Now, honestly, I know that that was just a ton of information, and I know we have a few people on, but Annie, if there are any questions or things, or I can take a quick breather and then go back and show some other features. But Annie, let's see if there's any questions that might come in a chat, or if you allow people who can unmute themselves. So either way.
Sure. So are there any questions so far for Byron? I know that's a ton of information, sort of all at once, but it's a great resource. There's a whole bunch of information available on Next Steps Idaho. It's really a robust website, a really robust tool. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to type up any questions you might have.
And then, Annie, I'm going to put you on the spot. You can pose a possibility to me, and I'll walk through some things. So if you're thinking of maybe someone who might have a question, give me a little bit of details, and I'll walk through, some possibilities.
Yeah. So how about, as a person that works in libraries, I've been working in libraries since I was 15.
Yay!
What, if a young person was interested in learning about maybe working in a library, what would that look like on Next Steps Idaho?
Okay, so what I would do is I would go to make a menu to the resource, and let me type in library. Oops, how about librarian? Okay, Annie.
Uh-oh.
We're going to take another stab at this. So what I may want to do is to look at doing one of the volunteers. See if there's any volunteer sections with that. All right, so I could look at some of the volunteering for career resources here. Some general information that's available. Here are some links to volunteer organizations, and then some ways for me to think about what are some of the other resources that might be there. Also, it takes me to Take 5, And these are some 10-minute quizzes and activities that could be done, and don't see anything on libraries, but I could search careers that interest me, and I can click on that, and it will take me to Jobscape, and that's the Department of Labor website. And we can see, all right, for librarian, here's the ones that are in highest demands with it. We have what is required in a library. There are some details that are available. I think I maybe finally have thought about, okay, here's the job description. I can scroll down to see if there are any job openings. This is the annual type of job categories in the Department of Labor. And so here's certificates and degrees in Idaho for library technicians, and this is the Department of Labor, so I don't feel too badly about this. It's not available at this time, but how did that seem, Annie?
Yeah, that seemed great.
Yes, and you see we have external links to like the Department of Labor, and we are going to grow our external links. I know that on my work plan, after January 1, we are going to start a conversation with ICFL on how to best use the resources of the commission, and also Lily and some of the others to integrate into the Next Steps website. So,
Oh, excellent.
yes. So, all right.
Well, great. Well, not seeing any questions. This feels like a good place to wrap up, if that sounds good to you.
It does. I appreciate the time with it, and if I could be helpful in any way, just let me know.
Thank you so much. So this concludes today's Info2Go webinar. I'm going to end the recording.